Hey, it's a me. We are back for more tormenting programming. That's right. Who we got here? Oh man, Fabby's back. Hell yeah! I think you were the last one in the chat last time because I've had my chat window open all day, and you're the last guy to send a message and the first to come back. So well done. That is commitment if I've ever seen it. Fishy, good to see you. Cool. So I don't know how many of I know some of you were here from last stream. I know some of you weren't. So I'll do a brief little recap on what's going down. So more maths. I know, everyone's favorite. I'm just kidding. It's no one's favorite. So at the moment, let me open. Where's my other map? I have a new test map now for this one specific feature I'm trying to implement. So actually, I should. Well, yeah. I'm not sure how many people have been concurrently following this, so I'll do like an overall recap for everybody. So over the past month or so, I've been working on a momentum system for the game. The game already has some parkour in it, like wall running, and the wall running's a little broken at the moment, but it was working earlier. And then I have this slide mechanic as well, which has physics to it, and we're trying to get it so that the wall run has momentum just like the slide, except it's complicated. So I don't know, we'll see how we do. But we kind of have the wall run currently imparting velocity from, or at least the wall run has variable velocity now, because before you'd be jumping on a wall. Do I have like an earlier build from when this works? I don't know. I might have a build from earlier when this was actually working properly. Give me a sec. I'll show you what it's supposed to look like. I'll take this. This build should have it. Gotta whip it out from the archives. So hopefully this will show up on the stream. That should be showing up about now, right? Hopefully. So what I'll show you, I'll change it to windowed mode just in case. So the way the wall run used to work was, now this is an old build now, so the lighting's all different. But it used to work like this, where, okay, well this version's a bit weird, but basically it would go at a fixed speed, and that's how the wall run would work. So you would wall run, and you don't really have any control over how fast you go. It's just a set speed. So what I'm trying to do at the moment is make that not a set speed, and make it a bit like you get a bit more control over it, and that's what we're trying to implement at the moment. The thing is that, like anything you try and implement, it's very complicated. So we've made some progress though. I can't remember the state I left it in. I think I had it so that it would impart however fast you were going exactly, and that's how fast the wall run would go, which works, although it needs some fine tuning still. So the camera doesn't move away from the wall at the moment because I've disabled all the camera effects. But you can see there, I can kind of gain speed while wall running. And if I stand still, you'll notice that I'll just wall run on the spot. So I've been trying to think of ways to kind of make this a bit more fluid and just make it feel better. Because it's been, gosh, how many months? Let me think. I think the last time I did any major work on the wall run must have been like 10 months ago or something. So this is going to hopefully be the last time I have to redo the mechanic. Because I think I've redone it maybe 3 or 4 times already. So this should hopefully be the final time, and this will be in its final form, minus a few bugs maybe. But, so I don't know if you guys can really see it, but if I'm going up, if I'm jumping and activate the wall run, you see that I move up slightly. And I think I've like clamped it. Let me see if I can unclamp it so it looks better. I've clamped the amount of upwards speed you get, and I can't remember why I did that, but it was in here somewhere. Yeah, so I'll change the max to 200. So if I jump upwards and wall run, you see that it carries my whatever upwards velocity I had, and it keeps it for the entire wall run. If I don't have any upwards, if I'm going downwards, for example, I'll travel downwards. But if I have forward velocity, it'll keep that intact. Now, the only thing, of course, is that I need to mess around with some variables, basically, to get this to work a bit better. Because, yeah, it keeps traveling downwards because I keep hitting the wall run at the wrong spot. So I want to make that a bit more generous. But, yeah, also, like, if I was to just jump up, yeah. And I have that climb as well. So that if I'm, like... If I, like, try and go up like that, yeah. So if I'm at the apex of my jump and do the climb, I'll go really high. But if I fall off a ledge and then activate the climb, I won't go up as high. So it's kind of it's imparting whatever velocity I had and adding it to the wall run. So that seems to work, and it's taking into account the correct direction, which is what we did last stream earlier today. So it knows like what direction and how to impart the character's velocity based on the direction that the character is traveling in compared to the direction of the wall. So that seems to work, which is great. It's just very coarse at the moment, and I want to fine-tune it with... I just dropped something. I want to fine-tune it a bit, basically, and we'll see how that goes. Who's here in the chat? We got Fabby here, we got Fishy, got Chalky Milk. Hell yeah. I could use some I could go for some chocolate milk right now, but I don't have any. Likewood says, I hope you're doing well. Oh, thanks. Anyway, we should get into the work. Sorry, it's just my voice is really dead. But yeah, it's more maths. I don't like it, but it needs to get done. So we might as well get on with it. So, there's one thing I did want to do that was hopefully going to be easy. It was that wall jump. I want to change the wall jump a bit with how it uses variables. I'm trying to think of a way I can kind of demonstrate, because there's a few things with the detection I'd like to change, but I'm thinking about the wall jump. I think what should happen... Yeah, so what we might do is fix the wall jump, because like at the moment, I think at the moment it just... Oh, actually I might not need to fix it. I've just thought about it, and I've just realized... Because I'm trying to think about the direction it launches you. Because before, it would launch you up, and it would launch you forward, and it would launch you a bit away from the wall, which I still want. But I want it... Because the thing that was going on before was that every time you performed a wall jump like this, it would actually push you forward a lot. I think it still does that, which I don't know why it shouldn't, but it does. So I gotta look into that. I don't know why it's pushing me forward. But I was just thinking, maybe I'll have to do that. I don't know, I'm gonna call, where was the code I was working on earlier? It was in the character somewhere. So I was using this where it's like at the start of the wall run, it gets the amount of extra speed that you have and it imparts it onto the wall run. So I was thinking, do I have to do the same thing for the wall jump? And I just realized that I don't, because it actually will maintain momentum. But it seems to grant you a bit extra, which that shouldn't happen. I want precise control over that, so I'll have to take a look at it. So I open up Gabby here. Here she is, everyone. Say hi to Gabby. The Gabby blueprint. So it should be in this property set. And over here, yeah, I was messing around with these earlier today. I might restore Gabby from a previous backup though, because I know that these values aren't what they should be. But the surface jump is that's what I'm looking for. Surface jump direction. So at the moment, it's at 0 for the forward and for the side. So if I were to set X to like 500, it should launch me sideways. Or maybe negative 500. Oh, that doesn't seem to do anything. Surface forward jump direction. Why is that not a... Why is that only doing it for the Z? That's weird. Well, there's a... Oh, wait, that's forward. Okay, wrong one. It's got to be side direction. So if I set that to 500, yeah, so it'll push me away from the wall, and that's what I want. Except it pushes you a lot, so I might have to think about that. I'm just thinking if I should adjust this value based on the velocity you've got, but I just realized how exploitable that could be. So maybe not, because it's going to multiply that or add it, and I don't want it to. So we'll just do like a very small pushback value, like 200. That seems like a good number. Because if in any direction, if the vector length of it all is more than the velocity we had going into the slide, that could be problematic. The thing is, it's going to add it to it anyway. So I guess as long as that's the case, I won't be able to stop this thing where you could just infinitely get speed. Because I guess due to the nature of how the wall jump works, you'd have to. Because it needs to give you a boost in some direction for the wall jump to mean anything. It needs to give you a boost upwards, most importantly, but a boost to the left or right is also nice, because I feel like if it doesn't boost you sideways, like if I set it back to what it was a moment ago, that's the wall jump now. It's even more exploitable, right? Because you can just keep hugging a wall without having to move. Now, I was doing some research about this system, because Titanfall has something similar, and I've noticed that what Titanfall does, it's interesting. It has a lot of the same checks as my one, but the particular way they've set up the parameters makes it hard to hug walls. And I'm not sure, I don't know if I can explain it very well, but you notice here, when I wall run, I have it, she gets pushed away from the wall. That goes a long way for Titanfall at least, to stop people from just hugging one wall. Because I don't know like how many people have played Titanfall. I've played a bit of it, but I've noticed that whenever I'm trying to do the gauntlet, you see what I'm doing in the game right now? Doing this in Titanfall is a lot harder. And I was trying to think about why. Because some people have suggested like, oh, just make it so you can't wall run twice on the same wall. But firstly, that's really hard to program, because you have to really know what defines a wall and what that actually means. You could say the same object, but if you had if each meter of this was a different 1 meter strip and they're all connected together, then that method wouldn't work at all, right? So I have to think, well, how does Titanfall prevent this? Because it's cool that you can do it, but again, like, I want the wall run to be a bit more challenging in terms of its usability. Because at the moment, it's very easy to just hug walls, and it's like, it's almost too easy. And I'm thinking, is there a way I can make this more challenging and make it still feel fun? And one of the cool challenges that I've implemented, at least for today, is the fact that it uses your imparted velocity. So that's gonna shake things up quite a bit, right? Because you kind of have to skillfully time the wall run now. So you can't just activate it whenever, because if you try and do it while you're falling, for example, you're not gonna get that upwards velocity as much. Or if you do it while standing still, you're not gonna go as far. But if you, I don't know, like if you were to go into one of these other maps, for example, say this one, or no, there's a better one. Or like this map, for example, and let's say you use the slide to gain speed and then you do the wall run. You know, there's some skill there with timing. You have to time the wall run and you have to activate it when you still have a lot of that velocity, otherwise it'll go away. And I think that dimension of skill is definitely important. Is there another map I could try this on that's maybe this map? This one kind of, it's just you can't really tell because the camera is static at the moment. But I can't just touch a wall and gain speed with, for no reason now. I actually have to earn it. which is good, and I have to work to maintain it. But when you have a case like this, where you can just hug a wall, it doesn't really feel like you're earning it, you're just hitting space, right? So I was trying to think about how Titanfall circumvents that, and a lot of it has to do with just the movement parameters of the character. It doesn't actually do anything fancy. Like, it doesn't stop you from wall running on the same object twice. It's just really hard to do that, because the air control in Titanfall is a lot less generous than my game. So that's one factor. The other one is, of course, when they push you away from the wall like this. Because in their game, it'll push you away from the wall, and the only way to get back onto the wall, like, you can't steer back onto it like in my game. Because in my game, the steering is really strong in the air. Titanfall's isn't. So you can't necessarily steer back to the wall, the same wall that you were on, from the same direction. It's hard. The only way you can do that is with a double jump. And that's where things get interesting. Because what Titanfall also does is that there's a delay between how frequently you can run on walls. And this works for both sides. It's just one delay, I think. So what you might notice here is that if I start wall running and then press control, you'll notice that I have to wait a bit before I can wall run again. Because what happens is when you stop wall running, it activates a timer. And if you try to do anything in that timer, it won't let you wall run. But once the timer expires, and it lasts about half a second, then it allows you to wall run. So that means you can't just, like, you see how the wall run ends here? Like, I can't wall run forever, right? So if I start wall running, eventually I fall off. Now, if there was no timer, I could just press spacebar immediately again and start wall running, and that just feels weird. So my game, like Titanfall, has a delay, so that when you wall run, it'll wait a few seconds before you can wall run again. Now, in Titanfall's case, it's interesting, because that delay is... there's two different delays, and they last for different durations. When you wall run, and if you just let go of the wall with the crouch key, or you naturally fall off, you will drop to the ground. Well, actually, no, that's not right. You will drop to the ground, but if you try and hug the wall again, and if let's say you're not moving like I am, and you start wall running, press crouch, and then wall run again, it'll let you reattach very quickly. But if you jump off the wall, the delay is longer. So if you just fall off the wall, there's a very short delay. But if you jump off the wall, it waits even longer before you can wall jump again. And that delay is re-triggerable. So if I fall off this wall with crouch and then double jump, like in Titanfall, for example, the falling off might have a small delay, but the double jump will impart a bigger delay. So it then goes and activates the longer delay, and by the time the Titanfall character is double jumped and it's close enough to the wall again, it usually, just at the end of that timer, it'll let you reattach. So the only way you can really reattach to the same wall in Titanfall, at least as far as I've tried, is by double jumping. And the double jumping imparts a larger delay. So there's a big delay between when you can wall run on the same wall. I think it's about like a second, I think. And it stops you from gaining infinite height and that sort of thing. Or at least, it doesn't stop it, but it mitigates it. Now, mine, of course, is a bit different, because my air control is very generous, and I don't have two different delays, I just have the one. But I'm thinking about that wall jump, though, and seeing if there's anything I can do to that to make this a bit less exploitable. Because I don't necessarily want to reduce the air control of the character, because I think it's kind of neat. But I think, I don't know, maybe it might be worth it to make the wall jump to make the wall run just a bit more challenging. And then a double jump, perhaps, to kind of introduce another dimension. So I don't know, maybe that's something I might play around with. But yeah, those are just some things I've observed while studying Titanfall, because that's like the only other game I can think of that has a similar mechanic. So it's interesting. It's like the way I've got it working, at least, is very similar in a lot of aspects. It's just, of course, there's a few other things that Titanfall does, like it lets you use input, which I also want to add in at some point, and a few other things. But yeah. Fabi asks, why do I suddenly appreciate every small mechanic that seemed rather unspectacular before? I don't know, like, I had the same kind of moment too. There's actually a little thing with third-person games that baffled me for a long time. And I'll see if I need to use a controller for this. But I noticed that a little thing that maybe no one's noticed about third-person games that I picked up on and it's actually quite interesting, is the camera controls. And I think this was like introduced back in Mario 64. But you notice like if I have like a controller, say, and if I start moving sideways, a lot of games control like this, right? But you notice how when I move, like I'm just pressing sideways on the stick, you notice that I'm actually moving in circles? I didn't actually notice that for the longest time, but this is how most third-person games control. It's not just like where you move left and right. Like if you open Mario 64 right now, you don't move like this. You don't just move left and right. You actually move in circles. And I was like, huh. I wonder why that is. And I actually tried programming it like ages ago, and it was actually really hard. But then I found an easier way to do it, where you basically just add stick input, because this stick also inputs the. So what you just do is like whenever you move left, just add input this way, and boom, there you go. There's a few other nuances, of course. Like I want it so that when she moves backwards, the character pans up. When she moves forwards, it pans down, and when she goes downhill, it adjusts. There's heaps of stuff I'd want to do, but you know, one thing at a time, right? But yeah, just that camera orbiting. I tried to program it in Unity once using maths and stuff, and it was like super complicated. But I was like, holy, like, oh my god, someone actually set up the camera to work that way. And it just never occurred to me. Like, I didn't notice it. And it's crazy, because I've been playing third-person games since I was a kid. Like, if I boot up Ratchet and Clank, you know, because you chuck in a third-person character in, like, Unreal, and this is how it'll move. The camera, you have to actually manually move the camera with your mouse normally. But if you do a bit of programming, you can get the camera to kind of move automatically. And I don't know, it's just something I never noticed until like a few years ago. And I was like, huh. That's interesting that they deliberately did that. I don't know. It's just interesting. I don't know. Quick maths, that's right. Has Raymond tried playing the game in FPS? Do you mean if I've tried playing an FPS game? Because I just talked about Titanfall, which I think fits that definition. Could you limit the time spent on the wall? Well, I'm already doing that, as a matter of fact. Like, if I just wall run, if I don't touch anything, after, like, a second, she'll fall off. So that's already in place. It's just, well, there's a few things that need touching up. So I guess let's start trying to implement something. I'm just sort of spitballing at the moment, thinking of things I could do to improve this. Because at the moment, because we were trying to do friction earlier today, and I don't think I'm going to get anywhere with that. It's just, the math's too complicated. And it's like, I mean, like, I have to really think, and I just don't have the concentration today to do that. So I'm going to think of other things to work on in the background. Like these other things, which should work independently of friction. Or at least, I don't know if friction is the appropriate word. Maybe air resistance is actually what I want, but I don't know. I've had enough of, like, I don't know, complex mathematics for today. So we're just going to I'm going to try and chill out a bit more this time. I'm going to do something simpler that I could probably accomplish without having to research anything. Oh, like, have I played this? Like, have I tried playing my game in first person? You mean? I think so. Yeah, but I'm not gonna ship it that way because it's not designed for first person. Let's just say. I mean, if it feels a bit like Titanfall if it's first person, but I don't have any animations and stuff for it, so I'm probably not gonna bother because it's not really what it's not necessarily like. It might just be a camera change, but it's going to massively impact the design. So I'm going to not necessarily worry about a first-person mode or something. Oh, thanks for the posture check. Appreciate it. But yeah, I think people have asked me, though, about a first-person mode before, and it's like, look, I mean, you got to put more thought into it than, oh, let's just change the camera. Like, no, you can't just do that. You have to really think about it and go, does this fit the design? And yes, it's true that certain mechanics can work given different camera perspectives. you know, like, yes, the wall run itself, just on its own, might also look good in first person, but you're only looking at one thing. You know, if you look at the big picture and every other aspect of the game, and it's hard for you guys to see that because you don't see the stuff that I see, but with everything I've got planned, it's just like, it's not part of the, like, first person, for me, damages the experience for the type of thing I'm trying to build. Because I'm not just building a wall run, I'm building more. Like, I'm building an experience that happens to have wall running in it. But on its own, yes, sure, you could say that. Oh, with a wall run, you could, any camera angle, yeah, sure. But I'm not just making a mechanic, I'm making a game. So, you gotta be very careful, like, extremely careful about those decisions. Like, just the camera position alone can change the entire mood of the game. Or the way the character's framed on the screen. Or, like, the FOV, even. Even that can massively impact how something feels. So, the camera position I have now, I'm mostly happy with. There's a few things I want to try, but, yeah. I think this is probably as good as it might get, unless I think of something better. Because for me, it's very important that the character is on screen and that the character is visible. But anyway, enough about that. Let's see what we can do about the... what was I going to work on? Well, let's play around with some of those numbers with the... Well, okay, because there's a few things I was also going to change. Yeah, it's just, I have like 20 ideas searing through my head at the moment, so let me just try and focus on one. Alright, so there's this thing, because there's this variable from earlier, and I wanted to use it in a different way. And I remember it was because... well, yeah, so there's this vector. And this vector used to be the wall run vector. And this was a set vector that you would travel in while the wall run was active. There's only one problem, though, is that with this new inertia value, it kind of makes this vector redundant. And that's bad because you don't want redundant variables in the code. So I'm trying to think about a way I can retool this somehow. Because essentially what I want the goal to be of this variable to control the wall run direction. Because there's a few things at play here, right? Because I had a thing up before where even if you were moving down on a wall, you would still have that arc shape that you would go in. And that's now not happening at the moment. So I might actually... Yeah, hold on. I'm going to restart the editor and restore Gabby's blueprint from a backup. Give me a sec. I'm just going to open source control and restore it. Thank God source control exists. So I'm going to discard the changes I've made to Gabby. Now, that won't discard any of the code I've written. It's just going to reset Gabby's properties and variables to what they used to be. Because I need to know what her old ones were for this to work. So I'll give that a go. And I can probably delete this folder now. Well, yeah, like that's Mighty's right on the money there. Like, if I make this game first person, it just changes so much, like, in not a good way, you know? Like, my game isn't necessarily, like, it's not Mirror's Edge, and it's not Titanfall. It's not what I'm making, exactly. While it does share similarities, it's a different experience. It's not about simulating parkour. I'm not really interested in that. So that's why, yeah, for me, like, my dream game has always been third person. So that's what it's going to stay. So now that Gabby's properties have been reset, oh no, I gotta open up my old test map too, actually. It keeps loading to this map, which is usually the map I use, but I'm using a different map this time. Okay, so now I've got that curve back in. And now I've got the camera effects back on, and you can see it gets pretty out of hand. So this is with the old... This is the old code and the new code running at once. And I gain way too much speed, and it's just like... It's a bit ridiculous, right? But I want it so that I can still leverage that arc trajectory move. That's what I want. So what I should be able to do, there's a base movement speed, and then there's like, I don't know if you guys noticed, but here, you notice how the change in height isn't that much. I'm only moving up like maybe 20 centimeters through that arc. But if I do the wall run earlier, I go much higher. So I want to keep that because I like it. But I want to change the forward, because it still has a forward vector that it's adding that's coming out of nowhere that I want to get rid of. So I'm trying to think about a new way I can apply, because the way this works is there's a vector, so that surface traverse direction vector. This gets multiplied by a curve, and the curve multiplies on top. The curve has 3 tracks. I'll get that open so you guys can kind of make sense of what's going on. Surface traversal. I think it's this. So this is the movement curve. So the X and Y are constant, but the Z goes up and down. And this blue, that's what gets the character to go up and down. That's what that does. And this goes from 0 to 1. So that 0 and 1 is then multiplied on top of that movement vector, the wall run direction. And if you times something by 1, you get the full value, and if you times it by 0, you get 0. So that's why the vector curve is on a scale of 0 to 1, because it basically means you can use this curve scaled to any value you want, and that's what I'm doing. The thing is that I want there's this inertia property that we've just introduced, and this has kind of thrown a spanner in the works in the rest of this stuff. So if we go over, I can't remember where I put it now. It's got to be here somewhere, or not. Maybe it's not here. Maybe it's, okay, I think it's here. And I think I might be able to do this in a different blueprint now that I think about it. So yeah, let me get rid of that. Actually, let me copy all. This shouldn't be in this blueprint at all. This should not be here, I don't think. This should be in this blueprint. This is the component for the actual, what's it called? This is the actual like wall run component, which is independent of the actor. So where should this go? This should go at start. Okay, so this should go here, right here. And we should get that. And we should be able to get this. And we'll minus this for now. And we should just be able to set this without a reference to the component, because this is in the component now. And these variable names, some of these variable names are placeholders. I'm not actually going to name them this, but it's just for testing. So that code should still work, but it's just now we're putting that code in the component. Yeah, there we go. So you see here, so to kind of more clearly demonstrate that, if I activate the wall run quickly, I travel upwards more because I have more upwards velocity. But if I do it at the apex of the jump, I don't go up as high. So that still works. That's good. The thing is, yeah, because then in that variable, let me open up Gabby here, because she's got her own set of parameters. So you see these little these yellow arrows next to the white boxes. All of those means that it's not a default. It means that it's been changed. And a lot of these I change because I have like a default character, which is like a base abstract class. And then I have Gabby, who has her own specific properties that are tailor-measured to her size and her speed. So that's what all these yellow marked variables. So surface direction is one of those. That's one of them I've changed from the default. And what is it at the moment? So, okay, and there's actually 2 more vectors that actually are also redundant. There's this combo multiplier. Now what this was a cheap way I was doing velocity before. Because what would happen is if you jumped off a wall and jumped onto another wall, it would multiply your speed slightly. And that's what I was using these 2 things for. But now that's kind of pointless because it's just now going to happen evidently from the way I've coded it. So we don't need to artificially multiply this anymore. But my thought is maybe what we do is change surface traversal direction to a multiplier instead of a set value. Because what that'll do is it'll give me more precise control. Well, it still gives me precise control over the Gabby's wall run speed, but it doesn't give me exact control, which is kind of the point. Because I don't necessarily want exact control, because that control is going to come from your velocity at the point of impact. So it needs to use that and then build on top of it, which it's currently not doing. So I want it to have it so that instead of setting like whatever this, because these numbers won't do anything now, but maybe I have it so that the surface direction is multiplied. So I can tell it to be more sensitive. Whatever the velocity you get, I can tell it to be more sensitive on a particular axis. I feel like that would be, at least give you some control while still giving you the variability that inertia gives you. So those are my thoughts, but it's just where, because yeah, I'll have to make I can't delete that variable yet because it's going to break everything. So I'm going to have to make a new variable and put it in and then get rid of it afterwards. So we'll give that a go. But yeah, so it's all very tricky. Have I played Ghost Runner? No, I have not. Speed momentum multiplier, that's 0. Well, so what I'm thinking is the number's going to be 1. Like the default would be 1. But if you want Gabby to exhibit greater sensitivity on one of those axes, like let's say you wall run and the speed is multiplied by like whatever the vector is, right? So if you put it in, it's like let's say I make the multiplier like 2 on the forward, right? So I would go twice as further forward, basically. It would double my forward speed. Now I'm not going to use it for the forward speed, but you could use it for the up and down speed, which might be handy. Actually, no, let me think about that more. Maybe it won't. Or maybe it will. So I'm just trying to think. Maybe that's not it, actually. I guess what I want... Well, I mean, that would be handy, but there's something else that needs to be there that's not a multiplier, I feel like. It needs to be... let me look at the actual... yeah, so... Maybe I just unplug this so that there's no vector being fed, and I plug that in here. Because I'm just trying to think. There should already be, like, that base number I put in should already... Yeah, so... Okay, no, I'm not... I think there's something else that needs to happen. Inertia itself needs to go through the curve. Because I'm just thinking for a second, and I went, wait, the curve itself is a multiplier. Why would I need 2 multipliers? And I don't know, maybe I do want to put... Maybe I will have 2, just for, like... Because this will multiply it with the curve, and then I can have another one on top that just exaggerates the effect. So you can basically... It gives you the ability to multiply her wall run speed by whatever. And that might just be nice to have. But it's already being multiplied by a curve, and I'm thinking... Because what I want it... Because the purpose of it is to have a number go through the curve. And I just realized... what is it? Inertia needs to go through that curve. I need to replace this stuff, because these 2 vectors are now useless, and you can see I've tried to disconnect them. And yeah, so okay, I might need to. I'm wondering. Yeah, I should probably copy paste this function in case I mess up something. So let's make a copy of this, like a backup, just in case something goes wrong, because I think I need to tear that function apart and reorganize it. That's what needs to happen. So I think that's everything. Yeah. So, because I'm thinking all of this stuff, I'm thinking it shouldn't be that complicated. And I realized it's because it's got this stuff, which is now useless. So this macro I did, this is the actual bit that multiplies a vector by a curve. But the inertia itself isn't a vector. It's a float. But there's, oh yeah, I made 2 floats, that's right. But the actual vector, okay, I think it's going, the train's going now. I know what I need to do. Here we go. I'm just trying to think this through first before I dive in, but I think I know what needs to happen. Yeah, so if you, okay, so Raiden, if you were to change like the, if you were to change the multiplier overall to 0.5, she would move at half the speed. Yeah, exactly. If you changed it to 0, she wouldn't move at all. I don't know. I think that isn't exactly, that's not the thing I was thinking to add, but that would also be good. But it's this thing where the inertia value needs to be a vector and it needs to go here. That's exactly what needs to happen. And this, did I copy paste? Okay, so I can get rid of this and that and that. And now this I need to convert, because essentially this shouldn't be being applied beforehand. It should just be happening here. So I think I can just plug that right in and not worry about this stuff. That's what should happen. So yeah, so I need to make inertia not a float, but a vector. And the vector, there's another thing about the vector too that I need to make sure of. So I'll call this inertia old, because we're not really, I don't think this is going to be the number. But I'm going to make another vector, and we're going to call this, we'll call this surface traverse direction. I hope I didn't name something. I don't think I named anything with this exact name, so this should be fine. So this is going to determine, and the reason I've called it this is because everywhere else in the code, I don't actually call it wall running, I call it surface traversal. And now that I look at it, maybe I should have just called it wall run. But I don't know, I was trying to kind of name it in a more abstract, non-specific way, because technically this isn't just the wall run code, it's also the climbing code. So the way I thought of it in my head was, oh, well, you're traversing along a surface. Because this manages the code for the climbing and the wall run. It's actually the same code, it's just different parameters. So that's why I didn't call it wall run, because it's technically not just doing the wall run. So anyway, let's move this over here. I'm going to keep this stuff here just in case, by the way. So that's why I'm moving it over. But I want to change, we're going to put this in. Now, I can't remember what, I think this was for the friction I was trying to do earlier, but I'll leave it in because whatever. It's just this won't be used for anything yet. But essentially, yeah, so we're going to have, this is going to be the direction we wall run it. So, and it's going to get it based on our velocity from the vector. Now, it's the application is where this comes in. So what I should be able to do is just plug that in here. And it might be that simple. I don't know. But okay, it's not that simple. I was wrong. It is definitely not that simple. I was thinking that might work, right? But no, there's some problems. Okay, yeah, because I just realized as well. Because the old property that I had there was a redundancy there too. Because if you go to Gabby's surface traversal thing, because the way I'm thinking of it is, I need to know what speed forward she's moving and what speed upwards she's moving. The thing is that a vector has 3 numbers, and I only really need 2. I don't need a third one. And I'm thinking, well, why am I using a vector? Because where I set it in code of how far she's meant to go. Because I think what should happen is that, because the Y is forward and the X is sideways, and the only ever use case I use the sideways for is to push Gabby into the wall so that when she's going on convex surfaces, she doesn't fall off. And I'm thinking, well, why would I need to manually type that in? Because if you type it in anything that's not a specific number, then it'll break. So I thought, well, why don't I just have this property as a vector 2 instead and automatically like hard code in some kind of X value? And I was thinking X, the way I've programmed it normally is that X is just a percentage of Y. And I thought, all right, well, why don't I just do that in code so that if I'm opening this menu, I don't have to worry about accidentally changing X to something. So if Y is 9, okay, so X, roughly, just eyeballing the number, should be half of Y times depending on whether you're on the left or right, whether the wall's to the left or right of you, which I can already determine. So, what I should do here is, oh wait, where's the feline component? There it is. So what I should do, I can't just set it like this. I need to set an X, Y, and Z for it. So X, so I think I should be able to, I'll just break this here and we'll put the, actually what we'll do is we'll make, actually no, I'll just leave it the way I had it, like this. So we'll set X and Y, well we'll set Y and then X will be negative Y. Because we don't really need to hard set X at any other point. And then Z will just be Z. And then that should do it. And then that should come into factor here. And I think that's all we... Okay, well let's give that a go and see what happens. Okay, well it takes us backwards, so that's definitely not good. It's taking us the opposite direction that we want. And it's pushing us away from the wall. So, okay, something's not quite right. Because I have this macro that has all this stuff in it. And I'm trying to remember... this basically gets it to work with that curve. Oh, well let me think. Maybe Y can just be that. Because what it seems to me what's happening is that it's doing this world space, which is bad. So you see how when I go on this side, it pushes me away from the wall, but on the other side, it pushes me into the wall. So there's something wrong. So I'm not sure, like that, because that vector here, that is just a world space vector. I'm not sure exactly why it's giving me grief. Because it should, this vector, this macro should make it relative. I'm sure that's what it does. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Maybe this isn't. Or, I don't know. Oh, no, yeah, because yeah, so watch this. Well, let's just plug this directly into this. Because I have this is a function. And this times it by the right vector, the forward vector, and everything. So this should be relative. But it isn't. It doesn't appear to be, at least. So that's confusing. I'm not sure why. Yeah, that's weird. Hold on. It seems to only work if the wall is on the right. But it also kind of doesn't. Because it... I don't know if you guys saw that. Oh, actually... Well, yeah, you see... Did you... I don't know if you see that, but I go down and then upwards, which is really not good. That's really weird. So let me think why that's acting so strange. Because I'm thinking, right, that this is the new one, and I'm putting that in, and that's the output we get is just going to be, oh, hold on. Okay, that I don't need to worry about that last bit. But this bit, vector curve, this is the base. This is basically gets the vector, gets the amount of Weber Woolriding, and plots it across that. It puts it across here and multiplies the output, and the output we get, we then feed into the thing. That's what happens. So that it's weird that it's not really doing that. Like it should be relative to the character, which is really strange that it's not. Yeah, it's like absolute, which is really strange. I mean, it's kind of relative. It's not really relative in the way I want, if that makes sense. So, let me think. Because it seems it's not just X that's acting weird, it's Z that's acting weird too. Because if I fall... Wait, let me try that again. If I fall down and start wall running... Yeah, you see that? I do like a freaking dip. What's that about? That's not supposed to happen. I mean, it's doing it by the curve, but it's doing it backwards. So that's really strange. And I'm trying to figure out why that is. Is it because Z's a negative number? Because if that's... Oh, that's going to be problematic if that's the case. I might have to... Well, we'll max that number. So that doesn't get too out of hand. Yeah, we still have that dip. That's really strange. It's like doing a backwards of what should be happening, right? Like if I... Oh, wait. Like it should be going up, not down. Like that. But if I... Yeah, okay. That's weird. But at least it's like kind of there. It's almost kind of got it. Because the curve is getting bigger depending on how much velocity we had. Which is correct. But it's, I gotta think about how it's multiplying it, maybe. That could be the problem. Because I had this math here, and I'm trying to remember how I worked it out. Because it worked with negative numbers before. I'm trying to remember why. Yeah, so that dip, that happens. That is applied to our. That's being multiplied by our base, by the imparted velocity. It's just so it happens negatively if we fall, but if I gain height, now it goes up and over instead of down. If you follow, I don't know if that made any sense, but it's got the spirit. It's just it's not exactly right if you catch my drift here. It's like almost correct, but there's just a few quirks, that's all. So yeah, the more downwards I go, the bigger of a dip there is, which is kind of correct. but yeah, it's okay. It's interesting. It's like it's almost, but it's not quite. It's got the spirit. Let's invent a sport where you have to hang on bungee ropes and wall run. Perhaps. Yeah, bungee cable mode, sure. I guess so. Oh no, I've accidentally made a fun mechanic. Oh. I mean, it kind of defies gravity though, because like the bigger dip you get, the further up you go, which is really strange. Like if yeah. Oh, I hit the ground. Let's see how many, if I can make it to the other side of the wall using this. So there's a small dip, but if yeah, watch the wee big dip. Ah, oh, I landed. It's kind of like that old not Flappy Birds. There was another game. Does anyone remember? There's some other bird game that was way before Flappy Birds, and it was like Tiny Wings. That was it. Yeah, it's like Tiny Wings. Hell yeah. But it's like, you know, there's no hills. It's just wall running. I think I could actually make it to the other side. But this isn't what I was planning on. But it is funny. Yeah, I think I could make it. I can make it to the other side. Whee! Gosh, it feels... It's strange. It feels very unnatural, but it is funny. Oh, there we go. Yeah, baby. And then you can kind of hack it as well. Almost. Like if oh, hold on. I gotta wait till I get to a peak. Like if I go up. Yeah, then I get the upward slope. Oh, damn it. I broke the chain. There we go. Oh, dude, I've done like a full lap. Oh, man. Yeah, I went all the way around. That was like, what? That's like 500 meters or something. Actually, how big is I can't remember how big I made this map. 360 meters. I went doing that mechanic. Except it doesn't work on, if I go this direction, it'll just push me off the wall. But I mean, yeah, it's sort of, yeah. It's weird, but it's got the spirit. Oh, does Spider-Man do that? I own Spider-Man, but I've never played it. I own it. It's in my shelf, but I have never touched it before. Maybe I should. I mean, it is kind of like elastics in a sense. Hold on. I'm gonna take a quick bathroom break and see if I come up with anything. I'll be back in like a minute. I'm just gonna run a quick ad break. I'll come back. I'll see what I can figure out. Give me a moment. Where's my pause button? I have a pause button here. I think it's this one. Alright, we are back. Oh, wait. Okay. Is my screen on? Hell yeah, sweet. So, let me think about this more. Because it's like, it's got the spirit, but it's just a wee bit not working. Because I don't want that, like, bungee looking effect. As cool as it is, it's not really what I'm after here. And it is also not like it. What should be happening is it should be multiplying the end result by this, and it's not, or at least it doesn't appear to be, and that is bad because this number is the thing that makes it stick to the right wall. But it seems to completely ignore it. And that is very, very bad. So, I'm trying to think. Like, I'm plugging the number directly in, whatever the output is. So it should work. But so should a lot of things. And that's what us programmers exist to fight. When things should work and they don't. Let me get rid of these numbers. Let me get rid of this. Let's just do one of these at a time. So we'll just plug in Y at the moment. And we'll see. Okay, well the Y also goes backwards, and that is bad. So that shouldn't happen. So why on earth? Oh, wait a second. Oh, well, I was gonna say, maybe I just get rid of this number, but it wouldn't fix it, because it's also a forward and backwards problem. And I think I think I know why. It's because this is relative to the wall. And I'm trying to, okay. I'm starting to see why this might not work the way I intended. So, I think what I need to do here is maybe just I'm just gonna try this. I don't know if it'll do what I want, but hell, let's screw it. Let's go. Let's try it. So we shouldn't go backwards. All right. Well, we are still going backwards, it seems. All right. Well, that's not at all what I want. But we do get pushed away from the... Okay. Well, let's times that by -1 for the X. Okay. Well, that is still somehow relative. Or not relative. Maybe is what I should be saying. Oh, well, no. No, it's... Okay, well, it's not world relative, but it's relative to something else. Even though I'm only getting the velocity of the character, which is... It's weird. Because that velocity should be in world space. And if it's in world space... Well, even if it wasn't, like even this with getting it relative to the wall, it's like not it's not doing it, you know. Maybe I have a hunch maybe this could do it. Maybe if I get active rotation. I don't know if this will do the job, but I'm just gonna try everything and see what happens. Okay, well this is a bit more like it. I just need to not multiply that by -1. Okay, that's not... Wait, no, something's wrong. Well, I mean, like... well, hold on. So, let's multiply that. Well, let's divide this number by 2 and put that here. Because I want the x to be half of y anyway. The only problem is that y is like 0 all the time. But at least the x is correct. It's just the y is now 0 all the time, which is weird. So the x is now acting kind of properly. Let's try it. What does the z do? Let's see what happens with the z. Okay, well, the z is still really whack. The z is basically unchanged. Okay. It's still as weird as it was before. So that's bad. Maybe I get... Maybe this... Because I'm just thinking. The old vector I used to plug into this function never had a negative z. So maybe this needs to be absolute z. Oh, dear lord, no. That's actually made it much worse. And also, for some reason, it just... It sometimes pushes me off the wall, but sometimes it doesn't. Like right now, yeah, what was that? I don't know what happened just there. Is it morally okay to giggle? That's more like it. And it totally felt... No, because... Oh, what are you, a child? Only kids giggle. Grown men laugh. You should be laughing, not giggling. That's where you failed, my friend. It's not that you're laughing. It's not that you're laughing at me. It's that you're giggling at me, and that's the moral. That's where it gets murky. That's reprehensible that you're giggling. Well, yeah, so, Raiden, I'm not exactly sure exactly what you're saying, but basically, how this system would... Okay, let me try and think actually about how this was working, because this was how we were implementing inertia, and this was in relation to whatever vector... It was a hard vector, and it was adding this to it. Now, you might be a bit confused, because there's a bunch of conditionals in here, so I just want you to ignore that for the moment. Basically, let me think, actually. So, okay. Maybe I do need to use this number, after all. Or not. I shouldn't need to, but I don't. Maybe I did. Actually, no. I shouldn't need to use this number again. I'm already using it once somewhere else. So X, Y, Z. What was this? So Z was something. No. Okay. Wait a sec. So I think maybe I know how to fix. Actually, maybe I don't know how to fix Z. Or maybe I do, actually. Maybe I do. Maybe I just plug that in. Okay, well that... No. No, that's not right. Okay, so I think... Oh, hold on. Let me think. So, here's... Okay, so the problem... How do I explain it? I get why. It's just I don't know how to word this. It's how do I word this? This can't go in. Well, whatever this. Well, this can't go here. I thought that would be the solution, but it can't. It can't go there. It just can't. It won't work. So we need to make this 1. And then I guess we'll go back to the old math and try that. Which... I don't know. I don't know if this will work. Actually, no. What okay, what I should be doing, actually... I don't need to do all this crap, I don't think. I should just be able to plug this in here instead. In theory. That's what should be happening. And then, I honestly can't remember what this was for. Okay, that can go, that can go. That should go here, I think. And I can't remember what this was for, but get rid of it. Oh. Oh dear. Oh dear. Well, okay. Okay, it's confused, but it's got the spirit. It works on this particular wall. It only works on walls that face this way. Oh, are you kidding me? Oh, man. So, okay. I know what's... I think I know what I need to add. Oh, Mindcube, thanks so much for resubscribing, my dude. 10 months now. Congratulations. Thanks so much for the support. I appreciate it. So I was just like looking at you guys to try and think of an old synonym to giggling. Very amusing. Sorry, I just lost my train of thought. What was I doing? God damn. Maybe I've been streaming too long today. But no, I had it. I was on the tip of my tongue. Okay, I had it. It was. This is like correct, I think. There was just one other thing. Oh, yeah, that's right. It was this thing. Yeah. So this needs to be factored in. Wait. Or not. Hold on a second. Okay, so I think whatever I did here. So that's for X. So X needs to be negative. no matter the cost. I think that's maybe what I need. Or not, because I've still moved backwards, which is not good. Maybe what, I don't know, what was I doing to Y down there? Oh, it was just, oh, well that can't be right. Or, no, that can't be right. What I have should work, given what I've got here. It should just like, because that will be a value, and if that value is being the same as what's up here, then it's like, yeah, that's the deal. Maybe... No, that's... Yeah, no, hold on, let me think. The X didn't really do anything. Maybe the Y needs to go through here instead. Because the Y is wrong. Okay, now it's always going... It's going backwards. Okay, no. I think this just needs to go here. I think that's maybe what it was. Okay, so far so good. Yeah. Except it's just the Z's very sensitive. But this, yeah, this is, I think this is right. Except it's not being multiplied by the curve. That's the only problem. So this is now good. It's just like, because that should then be being multiplied by the curve. But I don't see the curve. It should just be taking the raw curve and like multiply. Oh, it's adding it. Okay. Okay. So I need to do this. Well, we'll see. I think that's what needs to happen at least. Okay. Now I see a curve. There we go. And it still does the backwards curve though, and that's bad because I mean, you guys can see the problem, I'd imagine. And I need to limit how far down the wall run will activate. So, So, because I can't make Z absolute, because that'll kind of defeat the point. It wasn't doing it before though, was it? It would still apply the, or maybe not. The Z can't be negative if the curve is gonna work. For the curve to work, the Z cannot be negative. I don't want to do it like this, but I'm left with little choice but to try. Yeah, see, that's exactly what I thought would happen. Now it's just extreme and in the other direction. So that's... God, this is complicated. So the Z can't be negative, but it also has to be negative. For the... how did I sort this out before, I wonder? So Z can't be negative here. It has to not be negative somewhere else. How did I do this here? Well, I just clamped... Well, what did I set... Whoa, what did I set this temporary variable to? And when did I... And how did I add it? Oh, I just... Oh. Okay, so... So the X and Y has to be multiplied, I think. But the Z has to be added. At least that's what it looks like needs to happen. Now how the hell do you do that? Wait, hold on a minute. Is this the right function? This isn't the right one. Oh, here it is. This is the new one. I should be able to get rid of that now. So yeah, some of this needs to be multiplied and some of it needs to be added. Oh, what a world. Okay, well let me think about this. So I will need to then split this, right? And I need to make a new vector with just the x and y. And then add just the z. So I'll have to split all of this. I feel like... Oh, no, I don't want to promote it. I want to split it. There we go. So I don't want to do it this way. I'm left with little choice. So we'll just do 1. Well, that should be... Yeah, we'll just do 1. And then the added one should be that. And now we might get something resembling what we had earlier, kind of. But better. Oh no, I didn't see a curve. I didn't see a curve. There's no curve. God damn it. Can I just get a curve? Oh my god. So, maybe this won't work. So, the XYZ is being multiplied by this... Oh, wait. Let me think more. So, no, that should be correct, because it's being multiplied... No! Oh... The Z can't be added if it's going up. But if it it can't be multiplied if it's going down. Okay, I don't know if any of this is making any sense to you guys, but basically, for me to get that curve the way I want it, I can't add it and I can't multiply it. Because adding it only works when going down, and multiplying it only works when going up. At least works in the sense that it does what I want. So, what does that mean? It means, I guess we're copy-pasting this back in. So, say goodbye to this. Oh, damn it. Let me just copy that whole section, actually. I forgot how this is all supposed to go. So, so that has to go there. Do I still have that bit? No, I do not. I'll just copy this whole bit. And that should give us what we had earlier. Except I can't remember what goes where. I think that goes there. And I think that goes there. And I think this goes here. And I think that goes there. Yep. And this... Okay, so this should give us what we had last time. And we can get rid of this bit. Now... Oh, wait, whoa, what was that? Did you guys see that? The curve is going double speed. What in tarnation? Oh, no. Oh, well, we can get rid of this for sure, I know. But why is it going at double speed now? That wasn't... Oh, wait. That needs to go here. That should do us. Okay, well now we can't move at all. Oh. Alright, so we have no movement now. Okay, well that's not a good solution at all. So it's like anything I do will not work. I don't know why that is. Because now we don't have anything, so that's bad. Oh wait, it's because I'm using... Oh, how did I not see that? We're using the variable the old variable that I haven't set, so let's use the new variable. Maybe it'll work when I use the new variable. So, okay, so the new variable should be that. I think. That, I mean, yeah, that should be it, right? Because I just want the Y. Okay, now this is more like it. Except I don't see no curve on the Z. I want the curve. Give me that curve. Oh my god. Just give me the curve. I mean, okay, well the forward... I think the forward velocity works, but only the forward velocity. So at least that's something. But so let me multiply this by 0. Well, I think I just need negative because this is going to be half and then negatived. So that should keep us on the wall. So let's go to a cylindrical shape in the game. Look, Ray, I tried gravity. It doesn't work. Because of a little thing called frame rate. And it's complicated, but gravity, I can't apply gravity during the wall run. That's basically because if the gravity gets applied during the wall run, the gravity will influence the downward force more when there's more frame time. I don't know why, but it happens. So it actually happens in the current public build. The last build I put out is actually, the wall run is actually frame rate dependent. I don't know if anyone actually noticed, but I did, months later. But all of you are playing this busted wall run. So there's a speedrun strategy. If you want the peak speed times, you need the highest possible frame rate. The higher the frame rate, the better. You get a more generous wall run when the frame rate's higher. So yeah, there's a little detail. I bet you none of you noticed that, right? Well, yeah, now that I think about it, if no one notices, like if a tree falls frame rate independently in a forest and no one hears it, did it happen? if the wall run gravity is frame rate dependent and no one notices, is it really frame rate dependent? Nah, I'm sure. Well, like I noticed, so if I notice, then it's like, okay, I need to fix it. All right. Well, at least I know that the forward velocity works. Because you see how I can stay on these bits? That's good. The fact that I can stay on these cylindrical parts is a good thing. Because that's what it should do. And it scales, which is fantastic. So that's good. It's just the Z is now like completely broken. So... wait, because I didn't plug this. Oh my god. I'm slipping today, boys. Let's try this now. Okay. Well, that's still not quite what I was after. It's still too static. This isn't right. So let's... Actually, wait a second. Well, yeah, I mean... What is this boolean for? From side. I mean... I can't remember what this was for, but I know that it has to go here. So maybe I just plug that straight in. Let's see what happens. Okay. Well, not okay, actually. That's not okay. There's no curve. It's not okay if there's no curve. I need the curve. I need the up and down. That's what I need. Banny, I think that one comment is my mood. All the time. That is exactly... That's me. All the time, I always kind of get it, but not really. Pretty much. So yeah, some context. There was a curve in the wall run. Now there isn't, and I'm trying to get it back, but I want to do it in a particular way. Because if I do it with multiplication, it breaks. So I don't want it to... Because I don't want that bungee cord effect. So I can't multiply it. I have to add it to this. But I have to do it in a very particular way for this to work. And I'm just trying to figure out where the pieces are supposed to go. God, how do I get myself into these situations? How do I do it? I don't know. Like, this is kind of almost behaving correctly. Almost. Like, it's imparting the velocity, which is great. But there's no curve. And I want the curve. It's the curve is here, the curve goes here, the curve goes here, and then the curve should... wait. Because I have to add the curve. Well, that's what I'm doing though, right? Yeah, I'm adding it. So that should work. But what if I just, I don't know, what if I did this? What would happen? Okay, well, nothing... Wait, hold on. Nothing oh. What if I plug this directly? What happens? I don't move. Okay, well, let me think about that for a second. Oh, maybe these can't be 1. Oh man, but I want these numbers to be 1. What if I make them if I make these 1,000? Okay, I know this sounds outlandish, but bear with me. There is crazy solutions that you would not believe work that do. So it's like, okay, well, hold on a second. We have a curve. Okay. We have some curve now. But okay, I think the curve was there the whole time, but it was just very weak. So the curve's there. The curve's there, it's just weak. Well, it was weak, and now it's too strong. But I want these numbers to be 1. So maybe I have to make... I don't want to have to do this, but we'll make it 100. Oh, okay, well, hold this. Something's still not the way I want it. Okay, that was like a moderate curve. How does it look when we're falling? It's like the same. The curve is always the same now. The curve isn't variable. I need I want the curve to be variable. That's the thing, right? So it's like, how on earth is this supposed to work? Like, cause this is like kind of the configuration right now is like what I had. Oh wait, no, hold on. It was a bit better then. Did you guys see that? I just needed to clamp it. I think that's what it was. See how it goes up? But okay, wait. So, let me up the maximum to 5. Just to 5, I don't know, 500 seems like a number that might demonstrate what I'm trying to do. And then I'll do negative 500 for the negative, just to test it. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about, okay? We're getting there. So, it gives me control over... So I have the curve. I know I'm not moving forward at all, which is also good that I'm not moving forward, because before it would still move me forward, and that was bad. So it's not doing that anymore. So the movement forward is entirely dependent on the speed at point of impact. But now the Z, the curve strength, is related to the imparted velocity of Z at the beginning, which is exactly what I was trying to do. So you see, okay, so I'm going to activate the wall run. I'm going to do it a few times. So I'm going to activate it immediately, like that. And you see how, because at the beginning of the jump, you have a lot of upwards force. So the curve is more exaggerated. But then if I do it at the apex of the jump, you see how the curve is, it's still happening, but the slope downwards is stronger. That's exactly what I was trying to do. Okay. It's just the way I've done it is not the way I wanted to do it, but okay, so let me figure this out. Let me work with this. So we can get rid of some of this now, thankfully. It's just not how I expected this to work, but it does the job. So, could I get rid of this, I wonder? Because I completely forgot what this is supposed to do. So I'm going to bypass that and see if this still does the job. Okay, well, hold on. Okay, it does. It still kind of does the job. I think. It appears to. So maybe I do. Oh, actually, you know what? No. Yeah, no, I still need this here, actually. What even does this do? Oh, okay. So this just multiplies... Oh, wait, no. No, there should be a better way. There should be... I should be able to just put this here. Right? Like, if I take this... No, wait. No, hold on. That's not right. No, wait, no, wait. Okay, wait. I've got it now. So this... No. Damn it. Hold on, let me figure this out. Okay, so this... And then I need another one. I need one of these. And then we'll be talking. Yeah, and then... Wait, no, hold on. Something's not right. Wait, no, let me undo that. Something's not right. Is that... No, that... Why would that be an X? Let me think. It should be in... Why is Y1 here? So what's X got to do with this? Oh! Wait, when is it picking A? Oh, okay. So it's picking... Oh. No, hold... Well, if it's... Maybe it's the X that I'm thinking of. Maybe I'm getting the X and Y mixed up again. Yeah, no, X is sideways. I thought Y... Why did I think Y was sideways? X is sideways, yeah. So, okay, so... What I was doing was right. Sorry, guys. I'm just... Bits... I've got too many Chrome tabs open. Okay? The old noggin's got too many Chrome tabs. I'm running out of memory. Could someone download more RAM for my brain, please? So... Okay, so what I was doing was correct. I need to put this in here. And then I should be able to bypass this entire bit, I think. In theory. Or not. Actually, no. That does need to go here. And that needs to go to the Y. Wait, I'm already multiplying it by -1. So, if I'm multiplying this and this by -1, I know that there's a thing. But it's like, I feel like having two of this, something seems off about it. I feel like maybe some of this should cancel each other out, right? Just to be safe, I'm gonna put this there. It should cancel out, but I don't want to take the risk. Let's just see if that configuration does work. Okay. Oh. Oh, wait, what was that? Okay, there we go. So that should be the case for the wall climb too. Except it's not. Okay, well that's a problem. Okay, so at least it seems to mostly work without this extra bit, it looks like. Like that's behaving in a way I would deem acceptable. Because I got the upwards curve, and the curve doesn't go in reverse, which is the important bit, so I don't have that weird spike at the end. Because that's, like, yeah, that's no, we're not doing it like that. So, okay. So, I can get rid of this then. And that, and that, and that, and that, and that, and that. Oh, no, not that. No, not that. Yeah, okay. And then I can get rid of that. Okay, now it's just these numbers. I feel like something's a bit too convoluted here that I could make better. I'm just gonna remember what. Let me move all this a bit further so I can actually see it. I know, this is a spaghetti monster. This is what we in the industry call a spaghetti monster, all these nodes. I'm gonna fix it, but let's just get it working first. So, let's get some reroutes in here. So I'm just trying to think. So if we get the absolute, we negative for the y, and then we times it by another negative. Well, a negative times a negative is a positive, which means I should be multiplying this by that, and then plugging that there, right? And then the x should be the same, I think. Yeah, so the x... And then, yeah, then that should... Oh, wait, now I'm lost. Let me undo that. I got lost there. So where does this... Okay, so... What is that? Where is this coming from? What is this? Well, the y's... Okay, well, that's just on its own. So that... So... Okay, so maybe it should just be this. I think? And then that should just be that. Let's try it. Nope. Okay, well that's not correct. I've done something wrong there. So what did I get wrong? So this is now, where did this come from? Okay, well that's that. Oh god. Just move. Okay, there we go. Let's move that out of the way. So, oh, well, that's got a plug there. Maybe that's why. Let's try that. Okay, well now we stay on the wall, which is good. And then we should stay on the wall on the other side. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, all right. Well, I'm getting it. I'm getting it. So. All right. Can I swap these around just to make this a bit easier to read? Yeah. So let's now we can tidy some of this up. My favorite bit. Cleaning up time now. I'm sorry, Fabi. I'm hungry too. Okay. Why don't you label groups of nodes? Look. I do, but I do it when I'm finished. There's no point in labeling stuff now if it's gonna all be deleted. So all up here I've got labels everywhere, so don't worry about me. I am like perfect with this stuff, but only when I need to be. I feel like it'd be kind of superfluous to comment everything as I was doing it. That'd be hours of work. So I can get rid of that, I can get rid of that, get rid of that. Yeah, man, this is looking more like it. So it's just some of these numbers. I'm gonna have to think about these because I don't like hard coding values like this. So I have to think about what those numbers mean and what these numbers now mean. So that's gonna be the tricky part, because it looks to me. Okay, let me try it. So it looks to me like that Z being 100 is the default range of that curve in centimeters. That's what it is. So it can't be set to 1, because that would be too small. So if I do have a multiplier, it'll have to go here, I think. Or not, actually. Maybe not. Maybe this number here is fine. But no, hold on. So what that Z is going to be, that's a curve multiplier. That's what that's doing. It's not necessarily multiplying the output overall. It's just multiplying the calculation from before we impart velocity. That's all it's doing. So whether that's what we want or not, I don't know. It should be, but I don't know. Just trying to think if I can organize this all a bit better. I mean, yeah, like I can't really think of another way to clean this. This looks pretty readable. I think if I could probably just move it a bit closer together. It's just I don't like where this is. I want to move this out of the way. That's what... It's not exactly what I had in mind, but... I should be able to move this a bit higher. Okay, it's better. Alright. This is acceptable. This is not. So let's move some of this out of the way. There's a little bit at the end here. This was going to be for audio, but I haven't really done anything with it yet. It's basically what was going to happen was like, as you were wall running, there'd be a noise, like an engine sound, and the pitch would depend on the wall run speed, but I don't know, I think it doesn't really matter right now. I haven't done anything with that code. Did that ages ago, so let's organize this. Oh. Alright. So this is getting a bit more, this is more like it now. It's just understanding what these numbers do, or not necessarily what they do, but how to use them properly. So that it's weird. I don't want to say as an end user, because that's not really true. It's me as a designer. Maybe that's more appropriate. I try to make everything I program easy to use, even for the programmers, even though I'm the only programmer. Just because it's just nice, you know? Like, I think I would agree, I think most people would agree, that working on the game is more fun when you know how to work with the code. Like, when adjusting the code is easy. Like, adjusting parameters, and it's clear. I think when that stuff is clear, and when you could show that, like, if you were to give the code to some other guy who had never seen the project, and if he could figure out how the variables work, I don't know, I have this inner drive that's like, even though I'm the only one who's ever going to see this code and actually use it, I want it to be as user-friendly as possible, because it's just going to make my job way easier. But it also makes my job harder in the short term, because I actually have to make this to a certain standard. So that's the only drawback, really. But I think it's worth it, because it means that later, when I'm adjusting this stuff, it's going to be easy. Because it's like, oh, the wall run feels a bit off. Well, okay, I know exactly what number to adjust. And then I go and adjust it, and then you fine-tune it, and then it's good. And it's like, man, that was easy. You know, thank goodness I programmed it and made it easy to use, right? So that's the moment I'm waiting for. When future Ray gets there, he's gonna thank me for all this. So that's why I'm obsessing over this stuff right now, because it's like, you gotta get it right. Because in the long term, it will pay off. I know that I don't have proof of it paying off because I haven't gotten to that point, but I know that it will, because it just will. I just know it will. I can't think of a reason why it wouldn't. So anyways, let's just like let's sort this thing out, because I have all this extra. Yeah, so let's move that way over here and move that here. Sweet. And maybe something else. Maybe these shouldn't be clipping in. They should be going lower. And that should be going lower. Just so that there's no overlapping bits. Makes it a bit easier to read. Then we can move this like that. And then we can take all of this, move that over here. So yeah, now it's a bit tidier, and now I can sleep at night because it's tidy. So Some of these we might be able to get rid of now, but let's just play around with it and let's see how it feels. Because I feel like I just need to play around with it to really know, like, okay, am I happy with it? Alright, this is behaving good. I might need to adjust, yeah, I might need to adjust that number. So, just so that I know what this does. So I think this is the maximum amount more I can go. So we make that 200. I'll make this negative 200. So this is going to keep that height in a certain range, which is exactly correct. So it means I can't go up or down more than 200 units through that. Oh, well that is actually, was that 200? That felt way more than 200. What happens if I set that to 0? Okay, I don't think I move upwards at all if I set that to 0. Oh no, I do. I do slightly. So that's interesting. I wonder why. Well, I guess 200 was a good number. So that way I don't go up way too high, you know? I still feel like 200's a bit much. Maybe 50? Yeah, that's more like it. So it tracks my velocity up to a point. That's what the max is doing there. Or the min-max, or what no, it's a clamp, sorry. So that's what the clamp's doing. I'll be able to go full, like, it doesn't scale the value down, but it does stop it from going above a certain level, or below a certain level, which is, I feel like that's needed, because otherwise you could go infinitely upwards or infinitely down, and it would just feel weird, so... So let's go back to, let's go to a level. Let's go to Skyport and give that a shot. Oh, Mufai, you got an exam? I have no idea what a TOEFL exam is, but whatever it is, I'm sure you'll kill it. Best, may Talos guide you, brother. Oh, hold on. Something feels off with this. Let me give it a playthrough. I really need a loading screen for this level, don't I? Because every time I click restart, I think, why is it frozen? And I'm like, oh yeah, it's loading in. Because it actually needs to load stuff in this map. There's only one issue, though, is that the camera... Something about the camera is also not acting right. Well, yeah, so what I don't like... Hold on, why is that not working? I don't like this. Hold on, what did I just do there? I think it's just a result of the delay being too long. Maybe that's why. Because every time you jump, it actually doesn't wall run immediately. Maybe it should, because I was thinking about it. Because it feels unresponsive. But if I don't have a delay, people complain it's too sticky. So there's a fine balance I'm sure I could strike. But for the moment, for example's sake, because I know what I'm doing with the mechanics, so let's turn that delay off. Wherever that is. I've got it in here somewhere. It'd be on Gabby's blueprint, wouldn't it? Feline suit. Delay. Service detection. So yeah, it's half a second. We'll turn that off. Actually, we'll do it to 0.2 seconds. So now I should wall run almost instantly, which is what I want. But I know that people get upset when I turn it to that value, because it's like, oh, I didn't want to wall run on that wall. And there's another solution I'm thinking for that doesn't involve a timer, but I'll get into that later. It's gonna take me like 10 minutes to explain that solution. But now the wall run will be a bit more generous, hopefully. At least like in terms of the way it detects stuff. Does it work on the climb? I don't remember. I don't think it works on the climb. No, it doesn't. I'll have to retool it to work on the climb. Okay, yeah, so there, that felt good when I did that. Because you have to really jump into the wall now to actually get this. You don't just get given speed anymore. You have to earn it. It'll work. It'll be kind of broken with these crates though, because they use complex collision, and this isn't designed to work with complex collision. But the fact that it's even working at all is kind of surprising. So she might glitch into the wall, like she might rotate and wobble a bit, but that's only because of I haven't set the collisions up properly for these crates, so that's why. But this is like, it feels good, I think. It feels almost exactly correct. It's just, there's a few little things. I think it's mainly to do with the detection rather than the actual velocity, though. And I think the animation as well, it doesn't do it justice. But I know that can be fixed later. But yeah, I get a lot of control now over how fast I can go in a wall run. So that before the apex of the jump is when you want a wall run. That's like when you get peak speed. So that's good. But I feel like I need an it's just the wall running down feels really punishing. But I want it to be there, but I don't want it to be there in the degree it is. It feels like it's kicking in too much. So I think what I want is some kind of offset where I add a bit to this number and then clamp it maybe. So we'll clamp it to 100 and then we'll add like 50 to it. Now what this should do is that it should favor wall running higher than lower. It should add some bias to it. That's what I'm thinking. So because I want it so that even if I'm moving down a bit, it'll add a bit more and factor it in. So maybe 50 is not enough. I want it to bias it so that it only will wall run down. Because at the moment it does it, even if I'm not, like, if the Y, or not the Y, the Z, even if the Z is like pretty still, it'll go down. And it's like, I want it to pick going up before picking going down. I only want it to go down if the downwards velocity I get at the beginning is like really strong. So if I like up this bias really high, I wonder what'll happen. Okay, so if I up that bias really high, so maybe that's too high. But maybe like, we'll do 500 maybe. Because then it still takes me down a bit. But if I'm like here, it'll kind of catch me, and it'll be like, oh, we know that you want to wall run up, and we know that you just didn't make that enough velocity, but we'll give you a bit of extra, just because it feels better, you know? It feels a little less punishing. It's sort of like, I want to say it's like coyote time, but that's not really, that's completely different, actually. But it's serving the same kind of purpose, if you know what coyote time is. It's giving you that bit of like, oh, your velocity is negative Z. Even if it's only by a little. Like, you're moving slightly downwards. But instead of punishing you with that slight downwards velocity, because maybe it's a result of frame time that you have that, and maybe in your eyes, you are actually going up slightly, but by the time we process it, you're going down. So because of that, we'll give you just a bit of upwards velocity, because we know that you probably thought it should go up. Because that's what I'm thinking when I'm looking at this. I think 500 might be a good number here. So we'll call that the bias. So I'll put a little comment here so I remember what to call it. Because I need variables. I can't just hard code them in. That would be unacceptable. But for now, just to test it, we'll just put them in. So we'll call this bias, and this will be the limit. Because I don't know, it feels better. And sometimes it's not about the math. Sometimes it's about how it feels. So hopefully that makes sense. I have no idea if it actually does, but to me it makes sense. So yeah, I just saw your message, Hex. The wall run value, there's no wall run speed anymore. It's purely deterministic of your velocity. So I don't need to hard set like a wall run speed. At least not in the traditional sense. So if I put in a different character in the map, it would just, the wall run speed would just be relational to how fast the character can move and the jump height. So yeah, I'm very happy that it seems to work kind of how I expected. The only thing though is that I'm still curious if there should be like friction on the wall or some equivalent, because I know that friction technically should only work on the ground. So I don't know. I feel like should the wall run slow you down slightly? I'm not sure yet, but maybe it doesn't need to, because now I don't really have the same bug as before. I can't exploit it as heavily, is what I'm trying to say. There's only one thing, though, that irks me. And I'm trying to think where... Because it's the camera. The camera isn't doing this justice. Because it should... You see here? Hold on. I don't know if you guys caught that, but... The FOV bias on the camera isn't calibrated properly. At least it doesn't feel like it is, so I'm going to have to go and check on that quickly. That would be in the player blueprints. I actually used to have... someone just suggested, why not just have it press and hold space or something like Lucio. I used to have it that way, but that sucked. it was like your thumb just got sore from having to hold the button down. I can still make it work that way. There's a little boolean I've got, but it just feels horrible. I feel like it shouldn't be a button press. It just feels like it's too many extra steps. But I feel like the wall run should be smart enough to know what you meant to do. That's the thing. Because I know that a way like that exists that is going to be better than having it to a separate input. Because it's like, why have a separate input when the system just works the way you want? And I'm thinking other games have done this. Other games, like Titanfall, I'll bring that up again because that's like the most popular example. Titanfall gets it right. I don't think I've heard anyone complain about the stickiness of the Titanfall wall run. And that's because the way that they've done it is the parameters are fine-tuned to feel like it does exactly what you want. And I have almost all of the same parameters that they do now in my code. So I know that there's some combination of these that will feel great. And I won't need to code in an input. Because I feel like an input will kind of get in the way, you know? So it's like... Yes, because people said, like, yo, if you hold shift or press shift, it wall runs. And it's like, I've never, like, if Titanfall can do it without a wall run button, then so can I. If they didn't need a separate button, then why do I need a separate button? There's got to be some way I can design it. And I just realized that I'm gaining way too much speed. So so maybe I do need some kind of deceleration after all. But, I think one of the reasons is because it gives you input control. That could be one reason. Okay, yeah. I've thought about this before, actually. I'm remembering. I actually did figure out why Titanfall feels less sticky. There's a few factors. Mostly it's input. That's most of it. It gives you a lot of input control, which one of my builds has, but I had to turn it off in this version because it was breaking something. But in theory, if I just gave you more... Because in Titanfall's wall run, it only works if you're holding a movement key down. And then it'll only work like if the movement is relative to a certain direction. So there's stuff like that, basically. I think that's the only thing that's missing from mine at the moment, besides like deceleration or something. Let me just quickly check on the camera though, because something doesn't feel right with that. Gotta check. I gotta check my... There should be a check called is traversing surface. But, hold on, something's not right. Because, something's not right here. There's another number I'm looking for. I can't remember what it was, but I know that there was some kind of number. I'm trying to remember. There's a number for the FOV. And it's not like the FOV amount. It's some other thing. It's like a speed threshold. But I don't see it in here though. So it's like, did I actually code that, or am I just remember, am I misremembering it? Or did I dream putting that in? That actually does happen sometimes, funny enough. I think like a few years ago, I had a dream that I implemented something, and then I woke up, and I was like, damn it, it was all a dream. I didn't implement it. God. So, hopefully that hasn't happened recently, because I remember there was some other variable here. But I don't see it, and it's like, did I dream that? I could have sworn I had something like that in. Oh no, it's down here somewhere. Yeah, no, it's down here. I'm looking at the wrong part. It's all the way down. Yes, it's because it's still using these numbers, which I'm not using anymore. So, what do I replace? I guess I'll replace it with velocity then. We'll try it. I don't know if it'll actually do what I want, but screw it. Let's go. So now that now the FOV should be a bit more. Oh, it's zooming in. It looks like it's zooming in. It shouldn't look like it's zooming in ever. That's why is it doing? Like, you guys see this, right? Like, here's the wireframe. You see how the box in the far distance is getting bigger? It shouldn't. The FOV it shouldn't be this different. Something's wrong. In fact, it should be greater, really. Something's not right here. Because the FOV shouldn't be that different. Because I wanted it to feel more smooth, and it should be zooming out, not zooming in. It feels weird, and it needs to feel right for me to be able to test this properly. Let me check my surface traversal. Yeah, there's no FOV being added on top of that, it looks like. And the FOV... 30, 30, 20... Okay, maybe I'll set it to 20 instead. So that looked normal. Like, if I wireframe it, the FOV is like the same. But if I start moving really fast, it zooms in. Like, it shouldn't do that. It shouldn't zoom in. Why is it zooming in? Because it should, I'm not losing speed. It should only zoom in if I lose speed, and I'm not. I'm going pretty fast. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I am losing speed. Yeah, I was going like 43, yeah, well done. Let's go to another level where there's more slides. Let's go to the test level. Because what should happen is, the FOV should be just as wide. It shouldn't be zooming in. I don't know why it's zooming in. Yeah, like right there. That's like, what on earth? What are you doing? You shouldn't be zooming. It's stupid. Why on earth is it zooming in? Because I'm looking at the code, and it's like, okay. The FOV scales are the same, and it's... Because this is for walking, this bit. So the thing it selects first is, Actually, wait a second. When is it picking A? Okay. Well, yeah, because this is what it used to use, these numbers, and it would say, hey, if it's like, oh wait a sec. Maybe I've plugged them in the wrong place. That could be why. Let's just put zeros in instead and see what we get. There we go. Yeah, now it's not zooming in. Okay, sorry. I had plugged those things in the wrong spot. So now the FOV should be unchanged. Unless I explicitly multiply it by something more, which I'll do. So the FOV will get 10 degrees wider when wall running, but that's all. It'll only get 10 degrees wider from whatever it is currently. That's basically all that's gonna happen. So if I go to FOV traversal slide, we'll change this from 20 to 30. And now it'll zoom out slightly, which that feels kind of nice. Yeah. So then if I do that on the ground, yeah, there we go. That feels much better. Now let me play that through, because I've changed the bias now. So let's try and play through that level again with the new bias level. Yes, you are. You're watching me break my code. I mean, that's what you have to do sometimes. That's what programming is. You make something, then you break it until it is not broken anymore. Basically. But hey, if I break the code, so you don't have to. That's what's going on. If I break it enough, if I stress test it, then you guys should have a better time. Because if I didn't try breaking this stuff, you guys would be breaking it, and that wouldn't be good. Okay, the bias is, I can feel it now. It feels a bit better. It feels more generous. Because that's the thing. There's like a line between how generous to be and how punishing to be. Because the thing is, I don't know if you guys know what positive and negative feedback loops are, but basically the wall run, I think the reason people like it, but also the reason why people felt... How did people feel? It was like, I don't know if anyone explicitly said, but I could tell that people felt longing, I guess, with the wall run. In the sense that people seemed to enjoy it, but they just wanted a little something more from it. And I think that's the system I'm doing now, is what they wanted. It was the risk-reward dynamics of having momentum that is not static. Because even with static momentum, there is a bit of risk and reward. Because the wall run isn't infinite, and you have to time it carefully so that you don't run out of wall. Or if you cross a gap, let's say, like, let me get an example. Where's an example with a good gap? I guess this level. Yeah, we'll go here. So for me to get up to that higher platform, even if the velocity is static and predetermined, there's already a risk reward. Because I have to time my jump. I have to steer my character in the right way, jump, hit the wall at the precise right moment, and jump off at the precise right moment. I think that's what this mechanic is really about. At least, that's the enjoyment. That's the satisfaction. That bit where you land, when you like jump, run, and you avoid the obstacle and you make it, that's when that dopamine comes in, and it's like, yeah, you did it. I think that's why people like it. But the thing that people wanted more of was that, yes, there's risk, but they see opportunity for more, right? It's like, I can see... And that's sort of where dynamic momentum comes in. Because there's more variables you could use to create more risk and reward, in a sense. Because now it's not just a matter of timing it right just with steering and jumping. Now you actually have to have... You have to have a running start, you have to have the right amount of speed, you have to go at it at the right angle, and there's like more variables now that you have to keep track of. There's more risk now, there's more reward, I guess. And that more reward is evident of the fact that there are more risks being overcome. Like, to put it bluntly, or put it roughly. I think that's like what it is, right? So... I lost my train of thought there. But it's basically, it's risk-reward. That's what is the important part about this mechanic. I think that's what gets people hooked. Or at least, for games I've played with similar kinds of moves, it's what gets me hooked. I don't know if it's the same for you guys, but I would assume it is. I don't know what else it could be. I've tried to think about it really intensely, and I can't think of anything else that, if you like took this mechanic and you took out all the maths, and you thought about why does it feel satisfying, that's the best answer I can come up with. It's because there's risk and there's reward, which granted is very vague and abstract, but that's like the most simplest version of what this represents. So yeah, so when I'm playing this, because the risk reward that exists, but the minute there's risk, there's punishment, I guess, in a sense. Or there's a negative outcome. Because if there's no punishment, if there's no negative outcome, then there's no risk, and then there's no fun, really. So, because if it's easy and safe, it's just not fun because you're not overcoming anything, and there's no point. Because, you know, it's just like if the game's too, if there's no risk, it's like, well, what's the point, you know? So, anyway, but there's a balance though, because if there's too much risk and not enough reward, it feels punishing. And if there's too much reward and too little risk, it feels easy. But the factors that determine that, now there's more of them now. Now that I have this system, there's variables There's a lot of them now, at least compared to before. So that's why that bias, I'm really trying to get the generosity of whether it decides to move you up or not. I'm trying to make sure that that feels good, because that's one of the, for me, just playing it, that's one of the things to me that feels like either like more, like if I leave it at the value it was, it felt like more of a punishment than it should have been. It felt disproportionate. And just like with the other thing, if I can gain infinite speed with this, it feels too rewarding for the risk. So it's like, through probably months more of more work, it's going to be like fine-tuning it to be like just the right amount of risk and the right amount of reward. So, yeah. God, I don't know if any of that made sense, but I think I get it. I don't know if you guys get it, but to me, that's like I think that's going to be the reason. That's like why this mechanic is important. So, what was Billy saying? Punishment is kind of embedded in the failure. Well, yeah, exactly. The thing is that now I do have a loss in momentum, but then it calls into question, well, how much of a loss of momentum? Because I think there is such a thing as too much loss, or too much gain, or too little of either of those things. So, by playing through this, I'm just trying to get a feel for like what feels like the right amount of punishment and what feels like the right amount of reward. Because I think the bias is, let me play through a bigger level. I gotta play through a full level to really get a feel for it. So now what you might notice is that I'm going to avoid all the grind rails because the grind system is completely broken at the moment. So I'm not going to use the grind rails, which I know is a huge part of this level, but I'm just going to go through with the wall run. So that opening bit right there, I'm going to replay it. That felt good. Something about that felt nice. It felt like the wall run was doing what I was expecting it to. Like to get up there, it's just the forward speed that felt a bit off. I don't know. Oh, it might be because of the collision. Maybe that. Hold on. Let me pay attention to this. Okay. Well, actually, no. That is actually correct. Yeah. It's just the camera FOV is a bit much, so maybe I have to tone that down a bit. I don't know why is it that high though. I wonder. I feel like FOV shouldn't be that. Like when I'm standing still, it's good, but when I move normally, it zooms out way too much now. Maybe I have to tone this back down to 20. That could be why. Yeah, oh, actually, no, even here, it's too much. Okay, well, before it was too little, and now it's too much. I'm going to turn that off for the moment. The FOV's messing with me, because that also kind of influences how it feels. So I'm going to turn off, like, the camera movement. And this is going to look kind of awkward because the camera isn't going to move away from the wall anymore. But at least it won't zoom out, right? Or, wait a sec. No, there's something else I could do probably. Because I want it to move away from the wall. It's just the FOV isn't working the way I want. So maybe I just set that to 0. Oh, well now it zooms back in again. And that's not good either. Because I thought I just fixed that, right? Maybe there's some number I have to put in here after all. Oh, wait. Maybe, no. Whoa, no, hold on. Okay, well, maybe this goes in here instead. I don't know. No idea. Gonna try it. We'll see what happens. Oh no, that's not right. Or no, did I leave did I leave that on 0? That other number? I hope not. No, okay, well, alright. Well, it's just not... FOV is still kind of bust. It doesn't feel right. I don't know how to fix it, though, so I guess we'll just turn off the camera movement for now. Alright, let's go back to the level. Yeah, Billy, right on the money. Yeah, there's a lot of broken stuff. That's why it's called in development. So it's not a game finish stream, it's a game development stream. Of course things will be broken. It wouldn't be game development if everything worked. Alright, let me replay that. I wasn't really paying attention there. But nothing felt off, even though I wasn't focusing. Because usually if something feels off, it distracts me. So I didn't feel distracted, which is good. It's just, so you really got to get a run. Yeah, because before you could run towards a wall and then immediately turn and you'd have full speed, but now you can't do that. So you actually have to get kind of a running start, which these levels aren't really designed for. So the level design might work against me here, but I just want to get a, I mean, like that right there felt, let me get that checkpoint. Oh, can I just fall down? There we go. So let me go up here and see how this feels. That was alright. Let me see if I can do it, but faster. I'm trying to think what... Okay, so yeah, I was leaning too much into the wall, and that's why it was slowing me down. So if the angle I go at is too obtuse... Okay, and I think I know how I'll fix this too, actually. I have an idea on how I'll fix that. It'll have to do with input control, because I don't have any input control at the moment. It used to work, but it doesn't anymore, so I'll have to redo it. But basically, I want to have it so that if you just press input against the wall, it might speed you up a little bit, so that you're not entirely punished. I guess that'd be a good thing, right? Because if you go at it at the wrong angle, and it was like by a few degrees, and it wasn't a perfect 90 degree, because you're not going to get a perfect 90 degree. So it's like, if you go at the angle and it's slightly off, maybe you can use the input to correct yourself, maybe. I feel like that'd be a bit of reward. That'd be nice. But it's still like, there's still risk, but it's like, at least it gives you a chance to get it right with the angle. So you don't like have to live with the entire mistake too much. But you can still make it across a lot of walls, even if you don't have full speed. So that's kind of neat. So let me like try this. So I don't know if you guys saw what I did there, but I'm trying to like go in at the wall at an angle on purpose to see how slow it'll let me go. So yeah, you kind of have to aim, which is going to be kind of tricky because the movement rotation speed isn't like as fast as a first-person game, right? So that might be a problem. But if I use the strafe button, which is just a debug thing I've added, it makes it a bit easier. Well, let me try it from here. Okay, that felt nice. Okay, it's just the fact that the character rotates independently of the camera might prove to have some problems with this, but hopefully it's negligible, but we'll see. It kind of means you have to really get at the exact right angle against the wall. You have to be parallel with it to get the full speed. So I don't know. It feels like it requires a little too much precision. Like, I get that requiring skill and precision is good, but I feel like if it's that picky, it feels like it's like, come on, you know, like surely it can be a little lenient, but not too lenient, just a little bit. Okay, let's go through this next bit. So yeah, I'm gonna have some trouble getting through this next part, of course, because the grind system's broken. So I'm just gonna walk on over the rail, and we'll keep going. So yeah, it doesn't feel as fast because the FOV isn't being updated. So I'm just gonna use my imagination to fill that in for now. So I'm just gonna have to make my way through these crates, which isn't the way you're supposed to go, but you can get to the goal with these. So I want to use them. Yeah, so like doing what I just did there, you're right on the money, Hex. Doing that just feels so punishing. And it's like, it just, yeah, it feels pretty bad. And it's like, you're probably going to go at it this angle a lot because it's convenient. And also, like, you might rotate the camera last minute, but the character won't rotate fast enough. So I'm going to have to do some tweaking. But the slide, you can kind of exploit with the wall run, which is sort of a good thing. I feel like some of that should be allowed, but not too much. I think I'd like to redo my grind system. It's really bad the way I've coded it, but I might not have time, so I don't know. The way I've done it, I think there's parts of it I could salvage, but fundamentally it's not going to work with this momentum system. So I'm going to have to, it's made me think, like, should I even have that mechanic? Because it's like, if it's going to be that much work, is it still necessary? And I've been trying to evaluate that lately. I think it still might be. It's still fun in some cases, but it's just evaluating whether it's enough to warrant the investment of time. So the speedometer speed reading as the wall run speed. I think it is, that's what it's doing, I'm pretty sure. Like when I'm wall running, it does read your speed while you're wall running, if that's what you're saying. It does read it. If you look. I don't know if it's that visible on the stream, but it is showing. But I mean, something about this does feel better because there was a concern with the wall run that it felt too fast. Like, for me at least, it felt, for the kind of levels I'm going to do, it felt like, okay, I might need to tweak it. So the thing I like is that I don't go flying off the walls and stuff anymore. Like, it feels more controlled, which is good. It feels a bit more constrained, but still an ability that you can master. So it's like it's a better mix than I think it used to be. Because I can use that dash move and the wall run to really exploit those walls. But it feels like you have to earn it, rather than it just being having it given to you. And this bit, how does this feel? This feels really, I like that. Right, that bit felt nice. I know the camera was made it hard to see, but that felt good. I think, yeah, I think that's probably all. Yeah, well, there's my stream timer. That's probably all I will have the energy to do today. But let's go back to an older build, because I want to kind of put this in perspective, because this might look unspectacular, but when you look at this compared to what I had a few years ago, it's like, the difference is night and day. And I remember it being wild, but I don't remember how wild exactly. So to end the stream, let's take a call back. Let's go back in time to 2018, and let me save my work before I do that, of course. Let's go back in time. I'm gonna find an old build from 2018. I think let's go to version, I want to say 0.7. Oh, maybe not. Maybe 0.6. Maybe this. I can't remember exactly which build it was. Fishy says, I feel like how something feels nice is also how nice something looks. I guess depends on what you mean by looks, but I suppose so. Okay, this build is from a bit older. I'm trying to find something a bit more recent. I think this one is not quite what I want. I think it's this one of these builds. Let me just, I've got them all zipped to save space. I think, oh yeah, I think this is the one where the wall run is like super, super slippery. Well, like the movement is also, it's like, yeah, it's not great. Well, maybe, oh, well, it's kind of glitching there. I hope, you guys can see this, right? Hopefully. Let me like window it. Let me go, is there a test level I can play? Okay, we got this level. I think this was one of the ones where it was like super hard to control. Yeah, I think this is one of them. So this was from, I think this was 2019, this build. Oh yeah, I still had the stop mechanic. Oh my god, it feels so bad. Oh. So I have that mid-air stomp that just stops your movement entirely. It feels so out of place now. But yeah. And I had a combo system too, so you could gain wall run speed, but it was artificial momentum. That's what I had at the time, but you can get really fast, but it feels very wild. You know? Like it feels a bit much. It's like, oh, it's a bit too fast to process. And I still haven't, oh, let me turn off that emotion blur. That's horrid. Up the resolution. I know, people still like this animation. I want to do like a mix between this and... Actually, I'm not using the wall run animation right now at all for the wall run. It's just the run animation. So I want to do like a mix between her legs moving and her arms doing what they're doing in this one. But again, that's like not a very high priority at the moment. But yeah, this was, yeah, I think this was the 2019, one of the 2019 builds after I implemented the character. But the movement, no, hold on, there was another one actually. I think the movement got even slipperier at some point. I think it might have been build 0.7, maybe. I think in 0.71 I slowed it a bit, but I think it was one of these ones. It was like right when I implemented Gabby is when it felt like, whoa, okay, it was a bit much. Maybe it wasn't this, because this still has the old Gabby model in it, so I don't know. But yeah, the movement was... Okay, maybe it wasn't this one. I'm thinking of another one. But this was old Gabby. But yeah, so this, yeah. It's weird. I kind of think, because I guess the this exact level is still, it hasn't changed because I haven't really been focusing on it. But I feel like the movement has definitely gotten better. It might not be a whole lot better, but it's definitely not as bad as this. So that's. There's another build though. There's one that's really, really slippery, and I thought it was 7.1, but I think there was one that was slipperier. Might have been 0.8. I want to find it. Because I want to like show you how wild things got. I'm not sure if I'll use IKs because there might be an issue with IKs and my animation style. So if I can avoid IKs, I will. But yeah, I don't know. It's weird. I usually don't find those things that important. I don't know if it's just because I'm a developer, but to me, if someone is so picky to the point where it's like they get upset over the character's hand not touching the wall exactly, it's like, I feel like you're kind of missing the point. Like, it's not something I obsess over. I don't know if that's just because I grew up with games that didn't have IKs, but I don't know. For me, it feels like it's like there's more bigger picture things that should be more important to me, but I don't know. If I can implement them without it bugging out, sure, but I get the feeling there's going to be some problems. Oh yeah, so this wall ride, okay, this, maybe it was the other build, maybe it was 0.7, that was the slippery one. I felt like it would have been one of these though, because these had all the new environments in it. Maybe it was the one after this build, is the one I'm thinking. But yeah, look at that motion blur. Ugh. I don't know why did I add that option in? I don't know why. Okay, I don't think it was this one. It must have been 8. Maybe it was 9. It must have been build 9. I don't know. Maybe it was 0.7, but it's like the movement was very, very slippery. I really should keep patch notes of this stuff. How does this feel? I think, yeah, this one is a bit... Hold on, let me go to a test map. Yeah, I think, well, it feels kind of the same, actually. But yeah, it was like super, super slippery. And there's no air dash move. So this one's really hard to control. And it's, yeah, and the animation keeps getting stuck too. So it's just doesn't feel very nice. And the camera is super zoomed in. I don't know. I know why I did it, but it didn't quite land. Didn't stick the landing, that idea. But yeah, is there another level I can try this on? Yeah, so this is like this level. We'll use this level as a point of reference because this is the only same level. But yeah, that slide, this is before I had the cool slide. So I just have this static slide. But the grinding works, so you know. The game giveth and the game taketh away. But yeah, there's definitely, I don't know if it probably looks different. I don't know if you can feel how this feels just by watching. I think this build, you guys, I don't know, actually no, you probably can't play the old builds because it gets replaced by the new ones. But if anyone has an old version, they'd be able to play this. But it feels very, I don't know, it's very static. But if you go back to today's work, if we go back, we'll do that same level. So this is like a year later with more work done on everything. Wait, let me minimize that blueprint. There we go. Well, yeah, let's like, we can slide down this bit, which is already is like way better than the other one. Now we actually have to put in some work to how we use that wall run. And I know the camera isn't as fancy. I have had to turn that off. But this feels a bit more fluid. It still has its issues though, but I can work those out. But it feels like there's a bit more skill needed now for this. And it also feels like I'm in more control, because I could barely control it on the older build. I was like flying everywhere, had to process everything. It's too much for my aging brain, but now it's like, okay, I can actually control the pace a bit more now. I can go fast if I want, but I can also go slow if I want. Well, like roughly speaking, it doesn't work like with inputs. It's just your initial velocity, of course, but yeah. All right, well, that might be it for today. Yeah, so those errors, don't worry, it's not the code, it's just the fact that that particular level is made of BSPs and it causes that error. But that is the only reason. It's not my code. The code itself has no errors per se. Oh. A skateboard Easter egg. Oh. I'm getting a bit too cool there. Because if I do that, I'm gonna have to get a DC sponsorship, of course, because you can't ride a skateboard without wearing DC. We all know. Or like a Volcom. Yeah, I'll have to get permission to use their logos if we're gonna have skateboards, okay? And soap shoes, of course. Absolutely. Actually, Gabby's shoes, maybe they are kind of soap shoes already. I don't know, can you see her? Oh, the shoes get cut off on the website. Gosh darn it. But I know that I have a picture of the shoes. Where's the actual, I have the drawing in one of these folders. Kick pose 2. Yeah, here it is. They're kind of like soap shoes, maybe. Like, they have a bit of a gap. Actually, no, not quite. Like that little rivet there, but it's not enough for soap shoes. You need more contours for soap shoes. So that ain't gonna work. She could do Heelys though, I guess, because she does have that bit at the back here. That's like a very generous heel. That could work. But yeah. Just port the whole game to UE5 and then use their IKs. Well, so the concern with IKs, it's not that the IKs are inaccurate, it's that this is also the reason why I'm not using physics on the tail. It's because the character is animated at a fixed frame rate. Or, no, that's not correct. It's animated at a frame rate lower than the game's frame rate, by design. Now, the physics isn't. That's just at the frame rate. And so is IKs. So I feel like IKs might break the illusion, if that makes sense. Because you can't have IKs be limited FPS. They update in real time. And so does physics simulation. So that's why her hair doesn't have physics on it, or her tail. Because it'll, like, I know you guys will think it'll look cool, but trust me, it will not. Because the style will clash. And there's nothing, like, if, I don't know, I don't know what it is, but I feel like people get a bit too excited about the technology like this, in my opinion. Because to me, style, it comes first. That is more important than whether or not the character has IKs or physics or... And by physics, I don't mean like the movement code. I mean specifically like cosmetic things like the hair. To me, it doesn't matter if it's simulated. If it's simulated, that's cool, but it doesn't mean anything if it clashes with the style. Because the style comes first for me. And it's like, if it works with the style, then great. But if not, then it doesn't, and I don't add it. So that's like, yeah, I'm not necessarily letting technology lead those decisions. If they complement the style, then sure, but I don't think they will. I feel like there's gonna be conflicts, just out of the nature of that they're frame rate driven, or they're updated more frequently than the actual animation clip is. And I don't know, like, I haven't tried it, but if you just on principle, it's like, okay, well, if this is animating at one rate and then this calculation is being done more frequently, there's gonna be some problem. There just has to be, because there's never not. Things don't work, boys. Things don't just work on their own. Okay, things will always break, and you have to put the work in to fix it. So I feel like that's gonna, if there's the possibility for a problem there, then there basically is a problem there, more or less. There will absolutely be a problem. Oh, this gold. You're telling me the game won't instantly look better if you slap ray tracing on it? Oh, I know, who would have thought? It's crazy, right? That's another thing. I think someone actually asked me once if Gabby's suit, not the game, but if Gabby's suit was gonna have ray tracing. And it's like, I don't really know what to say. Like, I think we're gonna have to agree on what ray tracing is first before we proceed with that question. But yeah, although I was talking to someone recently about ray tracing, it turns out if you're careful and if you do it right, you can make it look good with the style. It's just it just hasn't really been done yet, though. That's the thing. With this particular art style and RTX, there aren't a lot of examples, right? So that's, to me, it's like, I'm not that excited by RTX because I haven't seen examples of it used the way I want it used. So there's gonna be one of two things will happen. Either an example comes up and I see it and I go, actually, that does make it look better, I'm gonna use it, or I'm that example. It's gonna be one of those two things. But I'm not keen. Like, it's not that I'm not keen on it. It's like, to me, it's like, okay, it's cool, but it's not like urgent and important, you know? It's something that might look cool, but it also might look good without it. And I know I can make it look good without it. And it's like, okay, well, if this can work without RTX, then is RTX valuable? And it's like, well, it might be, maybe, but I think it's gonna help realistic games better, which isn't what I'm doing. So, but yeah, there just isn't a lot of examples of non-NPR RTX, because RTX by nature is photorealistic, so it kind of clashes with the very idea of NPR, and NPR is short for non-photorealistic for the uninitiated. So yeah, I haven't been that excited. Like, it's cool, but I'm not gonna like rush to Unreal and download it and use it straight away, because it's like I have other stuff to do. But you know, it's like if you're nothing without RTX, then maybe you shouldn't have it, you know? I feel like it's not the one-stop-all solution to just make a game look good. I feel like that's what, mark my words, the next game Kickstarter that comes out, like one of those scam Kickstarters, it's gonna advertise RTX. Because it's going to be so easy to do RTX now, and people are going to think that that's what makes a game good. I feel like it's going to happen. I know it will. Well, yeah, that's a good point, Billy. But I feel like there's a degree of, how to say it? There's a degree of, I don't know what to call it, but I feel like it would, there's this like coolness to something, or there's something about it that's neat if the animation is like hand tailored. Because I was thinking about when I was doing the momentum system, right? When Gabby was going uphill, I was thinking, you know, could IK the feet and have it so that the feet don't clip through the ground? Or maybe an actual hand tailored animation for going uphill might allow me to do more than what IKs can. And granted, it might mean that the feet don't make direct contact with the ground, but it might do other things that make up for it, that might draw people's attention away from where exactly her feet are, right? Like, I was thinking it'd be kind of neat if maybe her posture changed when going uphill, which you can't do really with IKs, at least not the way I understand IKs. Maybe you could, but it's like, it's more, it gives you more, if you do it by hand, or you do your own animation by hand, it gives you that hand-tailored touch that you won't get from just IKs. Like, let's say she's going uphill, right? And let's say the entire animation changed to this more slower paced one with a different rhythm and a different posture. And it's like, you can't do that sort of stuff with IKs. I know it means that the feet won't be exactly right, but you know, I think as a player, you'll look at it and go, oh, cool, she, like, her run changes when she goes uphill. I think people will appreciate that, even if it means the feet aren't making direct contact with the ground, because it's more of it's the style, really. So yeah, like the things like that is the things I've more thought of. I don't if I'm gonna do hand animations like every single one by hand, I'm not gonna make 5 different clips where her hand is in a slightly different spot, if that's what you were thinking. I probably wouldn't bother that much. I would let her hand clip through the wall, probably. But if I spent time not doing that, but doing other things, like adding those bits of flavor, like having her posture change uphill or downhill, I could have another one. Or the jump, having a different jump for when she moves opposed to when she stands still. Like that kind of stuff. I'd rather spend time doing that than setting up IKs. Just because on principle, those things are higher on my pyramid of what I think's important for the vision. So, but we'll see. I don't know what'll happen. None of this is a promise of exactly what'll happen. This is just my thoughts as they are right now. They might change in a year. They might not. But I don't know. To me, I can just imagine there's going to be problems with this particular animation style in IKs. I can feel it. There's going to be some problem. If I can overcome those problems, awesome. But if I can't, then the IKs aren't going in, basically. Oh yeah, dude, bloom on everything, man. I think there is a bit of bloom on the camera right now. I toned it down a bit from the first iteration, but bloom is a thing in anime, actually. The way that they use bloom in anime is particular that I want to try and emulate, but I need to put more work in. But yeah, anyway, I have probably talked on long enough. It's coming on 10 o'clock for me, so I'm gonna like try and unplug. I don't know. I gotta unplug my brain, man. It's getting too much. But we made some good progress though, I think. The system is better than it was at the beginning of the day. So yeah. So I guess I'll just keep working on it till next week. I'm thinking next week I might stream on the Monday again instead of Wednesday, perhaps. That's just yeah, we'll see. Follow my Twitch and follow my Twitter and Discord to get notified when I go live next. Also, I want to give a huge thank, because I know it's like the end of the day, I want to give a huge thank you to all the new subs and resubs for today. I usually don't get any subs in a stream, so the fact I got like 3 in one day is just incredible. I don't think I don't express my appreciation enough for the people who donate a little bit to help me keep doing this stuff. I appreciate it a lot. So yeah, if you are a sub currently, be sure to link your Discord account to your Twitch account and join the Discord server for Project Feline for some cool stuff that only you can see. So be sure to check that out. Anyway, guys, that's gonna do it for me. I really need to drink some water, and I need to play something. I gotta distract myself from this. I'll catch you guys on the next stream, whenever that is. Follow the channel to know when that is. Catch you guys later.